Good morning. How is everyone? So we are at day 5, wrapping up the week. So how did you enjoy yesterday's video and the activity? Did it kind of give you some new insights, some new things to consider about how you're doing things in your life and how that relates to your sugar love, as well as setting you up for the cycle of the sugar cravings? So it's everything is all connected. So I want to just recap where we've been this week, because we've covered a lot of ground. Of these 5 factors that I have found in getting over sugar cravings, each one of them goes rather deep, as you've discovered, and there's a lot of relearning that happens when you really embark on this direction of freeing yourself from sugar. So the first day we talked about understanding the way the body works, understanding the natural principles of health that dictate how the body functions. Good morning, Andrea. Thanks for tuning in. We talked about the importance of understanding your microbiome and caring for that, as well as making peace with your body. On day 2, we talked about the importance of nourishment, of feeding yourself, giving yourself enough nourishment so that your body has the raw resources to run, so that it's not screaming for quick hits of energy, which then turns to sugar, and that doesn't really take us where we need to be in the long run. We also talked about the definition of nutrition is bringing light or greater life force energy into your body, and how we can do that in a myriad of ways. And then next we talked about how to clean house, the importance of cleansing and detoxifying your body, how when the microbiome and the gut bacteria get off balance, then pathogenic ones come in, and their favorite food is sugar. And so that sets you up for a lot of sugar cravings. So those are like the physical care of your body and understanding of your body. Then yesterday we delved into the next layer, and that is the emotional connection that keeps all of this embedded and imprinted within your body. And we talked about the importance of doing emotional healing work, of really asking yourself some tough questions, getting to know who you are and how you function, because that is the key that loosens all of this so that you can get off the merry-go-round of addiction to sugar. So today I'm going to talk about how to stay off the merry-go-round of addiction. You know, there's a lot of people talking about keto diets and low-carb diets, and in some respects, in my opinion, some of this has kind of been taken to an extreme because it puts carbohydrates in a bad light. Carbohydrates is one of the 3 macronutrients: fats, proteins, carbohydrates. You are never not going to have the need for carbohydrates. If you try and eliminate them or severely restrict them, over time you're setting yourself up for a lot of problems. The key is understanding the kind of carbohydrates you are consuming, and how much, and when you're eating it. You know, carbohydrates is kale, is an apple. Carbohydrates are beets, squash, lentils, legumes. We have to have those. Carbohydrates is also donuts and adulterated wheat products and rice and pasta and all of the things that set us up for problems with sugar. It's not the issue of whether or not you're having carbohydrates. The issue is whether or not the carbohydrates that you're consuming are primarily those that have been so grossly adulterated and refined and over-processed that now they've become harmful, that now they're setting you up for the addiction to the sugar. When you look at the grain of wheat, I could go on and on for just that grain, what they have done to it, and the hybridization and the refining and the over-processing of it. It has become a highly unhealthy grain. And it is the source, or one of the sources, of many gut issues because it's been so messed with. And when we look at all of the foods that we emotionally eat, much of that is refined flour products. And then when you compound that with what they've been done to sugar, like sugar beets and sugar cane, wherever they source that from, it's so far removed from the natural plant, the original source, that you can't even call it a food. It's now a very addicting chemical. And yet how much of the products in our food supply is loaded with sugar and refined flour? That's the type of carbohydrate that you want to look at. That's so refined and concentrated to give you a quick fix of sugar to spike your insulin and your energy, and then you crash. And then you also want to look at all of the other friends of the ingredients in those foods, all of the other chemicals, the preservatives, the artificial flavorings, which is fake flavorings, artificial coloring, fake coloring. The result is fake food. There's no nutritional value in it. There certainly is no life force in it. And how much of that is your diet filled with? That's the stuff that you have to really look at when we're looking at carbs. So we are all born into a family environment that has all kinds of things already established. There's the family mores or norms or attitudes of how we take care of ourselves, how we bathe, when we bathe, how we present a face to the world and what kind of face that is, how we interact with other people, what kinds of attitudes and beliefs we have about life in general, about the type of work we do for our livelihood. Our family has beliefs about religion, political structures, education, what kind of schools you go to, who you hang out with, the kind of house you live, everything. This includes food. We have the family patterns of what we eat, when we eat, how we celebrate holidays and what foods are there, or how we celebrate any kind of a special day. There's also the patterns of what we do when we're miserable, depressed, angry, hurt, and want to emotionally eat. Those are all patterns established by our family that we inherit and absorb growing up. And if we never take the time to examine those and really become conscious of what they are, then we will just live out our life on autopilot, doing exactly the same thing that our families have done, and then wonder why we end up in the same genetic destiny as some of our family. And then we assume that disease is inherited genetically. It's more because of the lifestyle that you adopted that you never examined that sets your genetics up to express in such a way that disease develops. And it's the same thing with sugar. It plays a vital role in that whole path. So the way you stay off of the merry-go-round of sugar addictions is by becoming aware of what you're doing. Challenging the family mores and norms and attitudes that you grew up with, and dare to do something different. Dare to change and go against the tide of what your family has done. Understanding the end result. and deciding for yourself that you want a different end result. And yes, this gets into all kinds of rough waters and the relationships that you can have with your family and friends, because they're very accustomed to doing things a certain way. And they're also very accustomed in you responding a certain way. And so they relate to you accordingly. And then when you go to change, then it upsets their boat and it makes them feel uncomfortable and maybe unsafe and in unfamiliar territory. And so they're going to want to push and call you back into the old norm, which you now are recognizing leads you to an unhealthy result. Okay? So can you understand that concept, that trail that I'm showing you? Give me a thumbs up, a yes, a likes if you do. The trick is developing enough internal fortitude and confidence and belief in yourself to commit to the path that you're going to follow, to really get beyond the sugar cravings and stay in a new path. It takes a lot of work. It takes effort of choosing every day how you're going to eat. And when you get upset or stressed out or depressed or sad or all of the emotions of life that come to you, how are you going to respond to them? What other options are available to you other than reaching for sugar and ice cream and cakes and pastas and cookies and all of that stuff that you know leads to a disastrous end result? It takes a lot of awareness and decision on your part to do so, as well as the courage and the fortitude to stand up to other people in your life to say, no, I am not going to do this anymore. I'm going to go down this other path, and you can either come with me or not, but this is what I'm doing. I still love you, but this is what I'm doing for myself. You know, a lot of people have a hard time doing that. You know, you may have had your own type of experiences about other things with family and loved ones, of having to set these boundaries and stand up for yourself in this way. But that's ultimately what's required in order for you to really free yourself from the grip of sugar cravings and the addiction of sugar. It's understanding all of these different dynamics and working them synergistically together to create a new lifestyle for yourself. You know, we're talking about this, it's all comes down to lifestyle. Recognizing the lifestyle you were born into, and then choosing to do a different lifestyle that suits you better for your own health and your own internal truth. And ultimately, it brings up the question of, is the lifestyle that you're doing one that produces pleasure and happiness and fulfillment for you? Or is it producing emotional holes of lack that's not taking care, where you're not being taken care of in some way? Thanks, Paula. It's asking yourself, do you need to change your lifestyle so that it is more in alignment with your inner truths and what brings you pleasure and joy, of what makes your heart sing? Do you know what those things are? Are you living it, expressing it in some way in your life to where you feel fulfilled and satisfied? If you don't, it creates a void and an emotional hole, and it's too easy then to fill that hole with sugar and unhealthy foods and sugarcoat it all over because you don't want to feel and deal with the emotions of that dissatisfaction of how you're living your life. So these are big questions to ask, I know. And yet, to make a deep, thorough change, to fully get rid of sugar control, these are the questions you have to ask yourself. They're ones that I've asked myself for years, and I continue asking myself. I've had to go through this, and I know it takes work. It's not easy to ask yourself those questions and really look at yourself in the mirror and get honest and say, no, I need to change something here. Not only for my heart health and feeling happy and the success of my relationships, but also for my physical health and the type of life, quality of life I want to experience towards the end of my life. You know, how do I want to live? You know, it's a tough question. So when you come to this point in the road, as we talked about yesterday, I call it the call. Life is presenting you the call, the invitation to do something different. So when you reach this crossroads and you decide, yes, I really must make a change, and you start to get an image in your mind or an idea of what you would like to have other than what you're currently experiencing, there's a gap between here and there. So how do you navigate that gap to really get through the unknown and unfamiliar to reach where you want to go, to reach a healthier state of health, of living, of how your body feels? That's where the work comes in, of every day, being conscious of what you're eating, what you're feeling and thinking, how you're interacting with people. And yes, you can manage, you can go through that gap yourself. And that's the hard way and the long way. And the way that is really too easy to slide back into the old familiar routes and ruts of habit. Or you can surround yourself with people who are also navigating that gap, who are also wanting to make a change and improve their health and get beyond sugar, so that you have friends, even maybe new friends, that you can link arms with, who can celebrate you, who can understand what you're going through, who can hold you accountable to what you say you're going to do for yourself. That will help pick you up when you've had bad days. That makes all the difference in the world. And when you have someone who has gone through that gap themselves, who knows the pitfalls and things to avoid and things to look out for and what to do, so that you've got a guide to train and help and teach you of how to get through the gap. That increases your success much more than if you were to try and do this by yourself, especially considering the addictive nature of sugar. So my invitation to you is, join in a community who is doing that. Work with other people, make friends with other people who are also committed to freeing themselves of sugar and improving their lives so that they can have a more fulfilled, happy, satisfied life and ultimately do what their heart wants, to do what makes their heart sing. So I'd like to introduce to you the Freedom Club. This is my membership community group of people just like that, who are all committed to learning what it takes to implement the things I've taught you this week to cross that gap and make the change in their life and in their eating habits. It's a community that you can join, where you can get the support, where they'll lift you up, hold you accountable, celebrate you, as well as learning from me and some of the other members in the group of what they're doing, what they've done, that you can then do to help you get beyond your sugar cravings. So I'd like to extend the invitation to you to check out the Freedom Club. Give it a try. If it works for you, great. You're welcome to stay as long as you'd like. If it doesn't work for you, that's good too. We wouldn't want you to be in someplace that doesn't work because it pulls everyone down. So I'm extending a trial invitation to you to join the Freedom Club for the first month at a discounted rate of $11.97. And then from there, if you decide this is a good fit for you, then you can continue on in the Freedom Club. The membership will automatically renew at a rate of $29.97. And it will be that way until you decide to no longer be in the Freedom Club. So that's my invitation to you of just trying this out, seeing if this is a good fit for you, learning from me to where I go deeper into all these things that I taught this week that I can't do in this group. I have to do it in the Freedom Club because it goes into more depth. So what you get there is access to the archive of my trainings as I produce them. I'm always creating new content. You'll have access to that. And you'll also receive a weekly live group coaching call with me where you can ask me questions. I'll teach you a little bit of things to implement each week. And then you can ask me questions and such. And then we also have a private Facebook group where we can interact during the week and where you can reach out to me directly for more feedback, more questions of what's going on personally with you. I do not do one-on-one coaching. This is the only way that you can receive coaching from me to learn more about what I've taught you. So I encourage you to try out the Freedom Club, give it a try for a month, and if it works for you, wonderful. You'll have access to, again, as I mentioned, the archive of my trainings, the weekly calls. They're all recorded. So if you're not able to be on there live, then you can receive the recording of them in your members area of the club. And as a free bonus, you're also getting these videos that I've done for you this week as a bonus course. You've noticed how I've taken them down each day after when the next video is ready to come live. And so if you want to review these videos, then they're available for you as a free bonus as part of trying out the Freedom Club. All right? So I've also mentioned throughout the week, for those of you who have fully participated in this challenge, done the daily activities, commented, shown up live as much as you can, and really delved into this, that I was going to offer you a surprise prize. So what I'm going to offer you as a thanks for your participation this week is I'm waiving the first month fee of the membership for the Freedom Club, and I'm letting you in at no charge for the first month. And then after that, you can kick the tires around, as I mentioned. If it's a fit for you, then you'll be automatically billed at the $29.97 a month rate. So I'd love to have you there. I'd love to help you navigate this distance between where you're at now and where you'd like to be to get beyond sugar cravings, to really free yourself of it. We'll be starting this next week with the weekly calls, so you'll want to make your decision quickly and let me know. And then I will get you the link to get you set up, get your account opened, and give access to the membership area for that, and where you can find all your trainings. So that's my invitation to you. I'd love to have you. I'd love to support you. And again, that's where you can get direct answers, support from me of what's personally, individually going on for you in a way that you cannot get over in this group environment, this broader community of this group. All right? So any questions about any of that, just please drop me a line, give me a comment below the video here, or even shoot me a private message. I'm happy to answer whatever questions you have to help you make a decision. So again, it's just a month. Try it out. If you like it, great. If not, that's great too. So, all right. With that, be watching for, I'll post the link to how to sign up below this video in the comments, and then reach out to me. So thank you again so much for tuning in this week, participating, watching these videos. I've really appreciated your feedback and enjoy having you here. It really makes all the difference. So take care, and thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your day.